Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a Happy Meal card to share with you using some of my favorite things products. Now this card was something. You will see it all the way through. I left everything in this video. But let's start first with the coloring. For this card I am using the Latte Love stamp set for my favorite things, which has been released a while back. And I truly adore Tiddly Inks. She is the illustrator from these stamps. And so me and Coffee and then these adorable girls, it was just a match made in heaven. Now along the way I had some issues in this card, starting with the coloring as well, and instead of starting over, I tried each time to fix it. And so I ended up with a card, yes. But I think, however, that starting over would have been way quicker than what I ended up doing. But I'm really glad with the result. I already gave this card away. It's like, well, I will tell you how it goes. So when I order new stamps and they arrive during the day when I work from home and I am maybe in a call with a colleague. I have an amazing colleague. Well, I have more, but there you have Marie. And Marie, she is incredible. She's also really creative and she really supports my card making hobby. So every time there are new stamps that arrive, she's really excited for me as well. And then I show her the new stamps. And so I showed her this one and she was immediately in love with it. And she thought about the baristas at work. So there is one floor where there is a great team of baristas that are serving the most delicious coffee. And every time I go to the office, I go there at least twice. Sometimes I stay there to chat with them. So yeah, I don't like going to the office. I find it way easier to stay at home. I'm cozy. I don't have to ride my bike to the train station, all those things. But when I go there, and I have to go at least 2 times a week, then I really have fun and enjoy the most delicious latte macchiato with caramel. Yes, I do. It's like I don't love caramel in like normal circumstances when it's only that flavor, but add it to my coffee, add it to my chocolate milk, add it to well, like Twix and such. I adore it. So yeah, and that team is really amazing. They know me and Marie really well. So we started chatting with them and they are really close colleagues now, although we are on a completely separate floor, other department, but we love them. So the moment that this stamp arrived, she immediately thought of them and I was like, okay, so there are 2 girls, that can be me, that can be you, and then our coffees, and I will just make this card for them. And then we will give it to them, to the team, as a thank you for whatever they create for us every time. And yeah, so I started coloring, trying to get Marie and Aline in this stamp set. Now I have light brown hair, but Marie has a bit of a darker brown hair, and so I really wanted these two to stand apart, so I just went for blonde here for me, although I'm not really blonde, but you know. So yeah, as always, I'm trying to start with the hardest parts of the image, which was later on not right. Well, I miscalculated what was going to be the hardest part. But I started with the hair, then the skin tone, and then I will work my way through the other parts of this image. So I'm just going from darkest to lightest as always with my Copics. That's just how it works for me, and then a second layer most of the time, because that really helps me to get that blend that I want. and I just work my way through the lightest until the lightest. So really simple here. Now, clothing wise, I just wanted to stay really soft. There are only a few parts of clothing that you can see on this image, so I didn't want to go really bright with that. It was going to be all about coffee, all about just having two girls there representing me and my colleague, and just having a bit of fun. Chairs we are sitting on, I think it's one big piece that we are sitting like on a bench kind of thing. So I just went with the same colors. I didn't want to go overdo it, just really simple. So after the clothing here and the little elastic band in the hair, I'm going to do the table, and this is actually where it is going to go wrong. Now from time to time I just have a bit of that black from the ink that is coming along with my marker, and I don't like it. This is a good ink for Copic Markers, but yeah, I have no clue. From time to time it just happens. So I wanted this really soft white kind of cloth looking tablecloth idea, and then because of the ink coming along, I really wasn't happy with it. And so I ended up figuring out how I was going to fix it. Now the fix later on ended up to be some pattern paper, because I first tried to fix it using a sand eraser. Now a sand eraser, it's something that it's only my last resort, truly, because the moment that I use it for like a mistake, like what happened here, I just keep seeing it, except when it's really soft and you just have to get rid of a tiny layer. But if it's harsh, like here, I just tend to keep going and just ruin the paper, because, well, handle it too much and it will get ruined. And then I saw it so hard that I ripped the paper, sort of, that I had to figure out what to do next. So I could start over here, and truly it would have been way quicker, because using pattern paper to paper piece things, it's not my strong suit, because you need to fussy cut yourself, and so yeah, I'm not really good at that just. So I took my favorite pattern paper from my favorite things. Unfortunately, they do not produce it anymore. I hope they will bring it back, because I need it. But this one is a Petite Gingham. Maybe you have it at home, maybe you have a similar paper, or maybe you just have another favorite pattern paper that could work. So I stamped out the image. I didn't stamp out a complete image, because that would just take up a lot of pattern paper that I didn't need to use it for. And I started fussy cutting the tablecloth out. So it took me a bit. And then I was kind of happy with it, so that was good. The only issue that I still had was when I laid it on top. Well, from here it's okay when I'm watching, when I'm doing a voiceover. The issue just is that the coffee mugs are like more downwards, which is not logical. So in my head, I had to figure something out for that as well. I couldn't have my mugs to be lower than the tablecloth, you know. So I stamped it out again. I colored it on this piece of paper, really simple. Again, the mugs at work are white, so I wanted to represent everything as much as possible. So I colored it in really softly, and then my coffee, I drink it with milk, and my colleague, she often drinks it black, sometimes also with milk, but often black. So that was going to be a tiny detail for them to make up who was who on the card, you know. So I really love making it a bit more personal that way. And they actually saw it. They realized that the one was me and the other one was my colleague. So unfortunately, I also needed to fuzzy cut this, and I needed to cut out the inside of that ear, or I had to color that as well with the same colors as I previously did the hair and such. I didn't want to do that, so I took my time. I redid one of the mugs because, as you can see on the right side of the screen right now, there is one where the ear was, well, I just chopped it off. As I said, it's not my forte, you know. So here I'm going to lay that pattern paper on top. I'm just tracing those edges mostly, and then I'm going to drag that liquid glue somehow more towards the middle or center kind of area of the table to make sure that it wasn't going to ooze out. Then I'm putting an acrylic block on top of it to really let it dry flat. And then for the mugs, I am going to use some thin foam squares. I will have them a bit higher up since we are playing a bit with dimension. And then I just scribbled a bit of black on some of the edges because with the craft knife, some of the black lines outline from the image was just a bit gone. So I fixed that, added thin foam squares, and then I adhered it on top. The second one here, that one I did again. And then I have my image finally ready to go. So this image is what it's going to be all about. So I wanted my card to be simple. I took the blueprints 27 from my favorite things, and I sort of tried to figure out which color was going to work with the tablecloth. Now I must admit that is going to be mistake number 2, but that's for later on. On the die cut blueprints 27 panel, I'm just going to add slightly some grounding by using antique linen. And then I will add that sentiment below my image. There are many ways to add the sentiment. You can even add your own if you want to. Anything goes. But first I had to do the grounding. And so, as I said, I'm going to slightly ink blend a tiny bit of antique linen, and I'm using some purple tape to mask off the edges. I just love a white border when I have stitching details to let it stay white, and so I'm just masking that off. And then I am also going to add a guideline on top of the panel itself using some post-it tape. There we go. I'm using my grid mat as well to get it straight, and then I will ink blend the antique linen above the line, which will give me that grounding kind of effect. And I'm just going to let it fade out, soften it more until I'm happy. So really, really soft. That table has to stand out with the pattern paper, and then the girls in the center of the card. I'm doing nothing fancy with the distress ink. You can also do a gradient if you have other colors. If you didn't use pattern papers, I think you can really go rainbow all the way if you want to. But with the pattern paper, I had to stay a bit more neutral, I found. So I'm going to remove the purple tape, and then I will stamp out the greeting. And then we will create our background. Well, background, there is just going to be that edge that is visible on behind the blueprint 27 panel, and I wanted it to match with the tablecloth. which wasn't easy because it's not red, it's not orange, it's somewhere in between, and I just didn't found the perfect distress ink that I needed. I don't think it exists yet. So I started I started here. I'm going to add more colors to it, and I just wanted to show it because I'm still convinced when I was editing that the ink blended kind of thing worked as long as there was that white center. And that was, well, you cannot see the white center the moment that the panel is added, and then it just was too orangey. I don't know why or how I could have prevented it, but I needed a combination in between the pink, the red and the orange. So I do like the glow on this combination. It was just not working for the card in the end, you know. So here I went for it. I added the panel, I added the image, everything was ready. I added it to a card base even. It was completely finished. And then I wanted to show it to my husband, who is sitting next to me in, well, my craft area is actually in the biggest room of the house, and he has a corner as well. I have the biggest corner, but don't let him know that I know. But so every time I finish a card and he's beside me, I always show it, and then he's like really quickly, yeah, it's pretty, and then I'm like, dude, I just worked for like an hour, 2 hours, any amount of hours on this card, and you are going to quickly look and say that it's good, you know? Not good enough. So I just keep annoying him with the cards that I create. And so I wanted to show him, and then I was like, but no, it is not working. The orange, it's not that color that I needed. It should have been more muted. This is really bright. But with the white in the center, it was okay. But now it is just in your face, in my opinion. So let me know in the comments if you agree or not. But I went for it and I wasn't happy at all. So here, a lot of thin foam squares, you know me, covering it as much as possible. It would have been cheaper to just die cut this image 2-3 times more and just add it on the back. Also really secure. A tip from one of you, that would have been better in this case. But I centered it, I added it, and then I am going to add this to a card base. Now, as I said, I wasn't happy. So I tried to fix it by adding embellishments. So I'm going to add my favorite embellishments. They are the heart sprinkles. But since it's all about coffee, I'm using the coffee bean heart sprinkles. These are from Trinity stamps. There are many brands with heart sprinkles, so maybe you have others. Maybe you create a card similar but with completely different colors, then you might not need the brown ones. Anything goes actually. So I fiddled a bit with placement, and once I was happy, I used some liquid glue on my embellishment wand and I adhered it on top. I also checked whether the black was going to work better, whether red was going to work better, because you don't want to commit if you're unsure about it. But I wasn't happy with the black, and the red was really too bright for the colors that I worked with. So brown it is. Let's adhere. And so the moment that I lifted myself from my chair, I was walking towards the husband with this card. I was so unsure. So I decided to go really crazy and cut the panel off. Now, since we have this border and I adhered it a bit higher up, I could just take some scissors and cut underneath that border really slowly so that I wouldn't cut that border as well at the same time. And I thought of using this brown paper because it was really matching well with the brown from the hearts. But then I was again unsure, because the moment that your card is not working out as you want it to, I get really insecure. Like, I must admit that I don't often have this issue that I commit to something that later on ends up to be something that I really hate. But when it happens, like for this card, I became really insecure. So instead of going for the brown, I thought, well, maybe I just create my own color with my markers, one of the colors that I use on the clothing, which is this gorgeous green. And I thought, okay, that's working. But still today, I am doubting whether this was the right decision. Like, wasn't the brown going, well, wasn't it better if I used the brown, you know? I will never know it because I didn't. But yeah, there is still this question in my head whether I decided upon taking the right decision here or not, you know? But well, once I colored it, I thought, okay, it's fresh, it's green, it's soft, it's subtle enough, it matches because it's the same color as in the image, so I could add the panel on top. So here is another card base, some more tape roller, adding the panel, and then I'm going to add that piece that we snipped off, trying to center it as much as possible. And that is actually the finished card. So what do you think? It was a long video. There were quite a lot of mistakes that took some time to fix. I'm really glad with how it turned out. I still wonder about the brown cardstock. What do you think? I hope that you enjoyed this video and that I could inspire you in any way. Don't give up if something isn't going as planned. You might be able to fix it. Thank you so much for stopping by and taking the time to watch this video. I truly appreciate you all being here, and I'll be back soon with some new crafty inspiration. Bye!